All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As I mentioned before, we were going to be following this Pac-12 thing closely, and it seems that in the midst of all the moving parts that's going on with the Pac-12 and uh, their attempts to resolve and be transparent with one another, the members, and having um, the commissioner to work on their behalf in negotiations and things of that nature. And it just seems like right now is not the best time, neither for negotiation or expanding or landing a TV deal. With that being said, the options are limited. There was some discussion talk that potentially uh, the big the Pac-12 have uh, pursued a streaming um, a streaming deal with Apple, but it seems like at the moment Apple is not interesting, probably because the amount, and probably because the the price tag is too high for something new for the first time. So I believe Apple is out. Now, it doesn't make it any better if the executives at Apple know the executives at ESPN, if there's hardballing between ESPN and the commissioner of the Pac 12. There was a set number initially. Uh, my advice would have been to go with the first offer. I believe that it was a little bit above 25 million that ESPN offered, and then they could have worked out something in addition with streaming initially. Now, this was initially. They were offered 25 million and they refused it. And the next offer was lower than that. Maybe 2 months later, I think it was came in at about 22 million. Now, what does that say about these negotiations? For one, usually the first offer tends to be either right at par or a little bit below. And the partners are not going to increase because, for one, they've already did their analysis and they've already evaluated the value of the conference prior to the offer. So they have a set number, a set goal, and the progress from where they were before, and they know what number they need to be at in order to make a profit. So usually there's not going to be too much wiggle room, plus or minus a couple of million. So that should have been keen right there. Now, what would have been wise was to accept the offer with conditions, right? With conditions to add a streaming partner for additional revenue. Then you could have brought in your Apples and Amazon for whatever they want to negotiate. And then it could have most likely been at par with the Big 12. But that didn't happen. So that number decreased to 22 million. And at this point, that was also rejected. So what does that tell you? From 25 to 23 and even lower. For one, there seems like some personalities occurred or flared up during the meeting or the negotiations to where there was a halt. Now, while all this is happening on the business side, what do you tell your presidents? Well, I can work something out. You're keeping them at bay. You're telling them what's the possibility. And not only that, you're also letting them know that it's a good chance that you can get a better offer. But this have not proven to be. Now, at this point, there was reports that ESPN has backed out completely. Backed out completely. So what does that mean? If one of the largest TV networks in sports have backed out of the deal, that is not good. That is not good. That is not good. Not to mention that they would be more supportive of having teams and members go to other conferences. They're still not going to lose. So let this Pac-12 situation, for all these conferences out there, let this Pac-12 situation be an example for you guys when you're doing business. Okay? For one, you're bringing a product to a platform, so it's really a mutual thing. It should never be looked at as a competitive thing when you're doing business. It should be a mutual thing because you are partnering with ESPN or whoever partner you come to terms and agreements with. You're not partnering with your competitor, or should I say with the Big 12. You're not partnering with them. When you're going in to negotiate and doing business, you're doing it with ESPN, not the Big 12. So you should be focused specifically on your conference performance and what it has to offer in relation to the business side of things. And you should be tuning out all of the competitive rhetoric that is coming from another conference. Because at this point now, it seems like y'all dug yourself a hole, and it's okay, how do we resolve this? It doesn't seem like it can be resolved at this point because you have these programs who are used to the traditional way of athletics as it relates to TV contract and visibility. They're used to this. It's been happening for decades. So for them to receive less money and change the visibility is a no-go. It's a no deal, period. So that goes back to realignment. And today, a source, it's been confirmed that the university, or Colorado University, will and may be the first one out of the Pac-12. You heard it first. Colorado most likely will be the first team to ditch the Pac-12. Colorado will be the first to ditch the Pac-12. And it's odd and it's strange that this is transpiring. We would like to know what is going on with the Pac-12 and their meetings behind the door. Well, we kind of know what it is. It's a lot of shrugging shoulders. I don't know. Give me more time. Let me figure this out. I can do this. Hey, I don't see no future for the Pac-12 as we used to know it. As we used to know it. What we see moving forward is a used to be Power 5 conference. Now look, this is nothing new. This happens all the time. In fact, it's in the history of college sports. Have y'all ever heard of a Power 5 conference back in the days called Southwest Conference? It happens all the time. So don't be surprised in this ever-changing world of college sports. Not only is there realignment with the teams, there's also conference realignment. Conference realignment, where conferences merge or fall off. And at this point, they didn't want to merge. The Pac-12 did not accept the offer to merge with the Big 12, which would have been the wisest thing And now you see what happens when you don't make the moves at the right time, when it is inclined to, for the better growth of the business. So with that being said, it seems like the Pac-12 screwed themselves once again, from not adding BYU to not expanding, to not merging, to not accepting the TV offer initially, to waiting to negotiate. It just seems like, I guess, that 2-hour or 3-hour time zone behind just has them not be in tune to what's going on. That's what it seems like, because it seems like they're always the last to do something, and it's always too late. So with that being said, this video is brought to you by Global News Sports, and Colorado University possibly will be the first to vacate the Pac-12. You heard it here first. Till next time, Global News Sports. Thank y'all. Like, share, subscribe, and have a great day.